Hey guys, welcome to the High Ticket Coaching and Consultant Strategy and Growth Show. Now, if you're watching this interview anywhere else but within our private Facebook community called High Ticket Client Attraction Insider Circle, definitely come check us out. We'd definitely love to have you. And that community was put together specifically for coaches, consultants, and service providers who are serious about getting up to that 6 and that 7-figure level. So if that's you, come check us out. Now, today I want to introduce you to another one of the members of our community, and I'm really excited to have you meet her, Deborah Hamilton. Welcome, Deborah.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
You are welcome. So, Deborah, tell the rest of the community, what is it that you do?
Well, let me just introduce myself. I am Deborah B. Hamilton. I'm a relationship and intimacy coach, and I help busy women and married couples in their relationships. So I specialize in communication. That's my passion. I love doing this work. I love helping women and men and married couples really find the avenues to improve in their communication, because I truly believe that communication is the key to resolve any issues that anyone would have. So that's the main thing that I'll focus on right now.
Right, love it. So tell us, what's your backstory? So before you got into doing this type of work, what did you do?
I actually worked for Procter & Gamble for 27 years and Hewlett Packard for 3. I was started out as a secretary and worked myself all the way up through to a information technologist. So our systems analyst at Procter & Gamble, information technologist at Hewlett Packard. So I was in the corporate world for 30 years.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
Yeah, and then I transitioned to travel agent and then to a relationship intimacy coach. So done several things.
Yeah, awesome. So what got you to make the shift from Procter & Gamble to this side of stuff?
Actually, I have been helping people in their relationships for years. However, I was talking to a couple of my friends and we were sharing relationship information and they were like, you really should be doing this professionally. So I decided to, okay, let me check into it, see what I could do. And I found out that this is my absolute passion. I'm loving it. This is something I should have been doing a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what got me started, just having a conversation and being encouraged to do it because they felt like I had something to say and how I can help people. So that's how I got started.
Yeah, yeah. So how did COVID, now with COVID-19, did you get started before COVID, or was COVID one of the reasons why you made the shift?
No, I've been doing this for about 2 years, almost 2 years now.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was there any, when you decide, because I know there's a lot of other members of our community as well too, who they're at the point where they want to do something different. They know they want to help in some way, but there's some fear. So like, oh, will this work? Do I quit my job and all these different things? So for you, did you have those issues as well? Like as far as, or was it just like you just said, that's what I want to do and you just jumped right in? How did it work for you?
I just jumped right in. Honestly, I was so green in the beginning, and especially when it comes to technology and being able to build up my clientele, on Instagram and Facebook and stuff like that. Now, one-on-one, I'm very good at that. I could help you all day long. But as far as, building up my clientele on Instagram and Facebook, that's why I struggle. But I basically just jumped right in and I'm really, really enjoying it.
Mm-hmm. Love it. And what about, and tell us a bit about the ideal clients that you work with, people who benefit the best and most from your services.
People who are struggling to, work on their communication, work on their way of not feeling like if they're having a conversation that they're not getting through. And that's what I really focus. And that's why I said that's my passion, because I also teach people about the 3 ego states. And 3 ego states has to do with how you show up in a conversation. So if you know how to show up in your conversation, if you know how to talk to each other, then that's the key to help with any issues that you're having. I mean, I've had different issues. I've helped people with different issues, people who struggle with not only communication, but people who even deal with self-esteem. A lot of us struggle with self-esteem, and and people always assume that it's women, but men suffer with self-esteem as well, you know, and expectations is huge as well, because we have these expectations. And my thing is, are you sharing your expectations? Are you talking through what's going on with you? And then disconnection is when something can happen in the moment, and instead of you understanding that it's something that happened in the moment, you can like be mad for days, for weeks, you know, instead of understanding that, well, that just happened in the moment and we could get past that moment. So it's just so many different things that we as couples and as, you know, busy women struggle with. And, you know, in our marriages, and how we could simplify it by having that conversation. By working with me, I really guide you through your process and understanding where you're at, where you need to go, and how you can blend that situation, how you can mend it, how you could think differently outside the box of what you deal with. Because when we're in it, we don't see a way out. So I consider myself the third ear. You know, I'm sitting there, I'm listening to what you're saying, and I'm helping each individual make sure that they're hearing the other person, making sure that they're able to bridge that gap that's causing that disconnection that they're having. So just so many different things that I help people work through.
Yeah, awesome. So what about the types of relationships that you do help them? Is it personal marriage relationships? Is it business, or is it a mixture of the
I focus on marriages. I focus
marriages?
on marriages, but I do work with women, but my main focus is to save marriages.
Hmm. Okay, so
Yeah.
you come from a firm of saving marriages, you said?
Yes.
Hmm.
Yes, that's my goal, to save as many marriages as I can. With this COVID, there's so many people who are struggling. I mean, let's be honest. We're just not used to being in the house all day long, every day with each other. Let's just be honest about that. We get married, normally everybody has a job, at least one person has a job, right? So we are, you know, out and about, and then we come home and we connect. But for those who are at home now together, that's a struggle. And I'm dealing with people who are struggling with that, you know,
Yeah.
actually being together all the time and figuring out who are you? And I didn't know you did this, and I didn't know you did that. But, you know, it's the process. It's just, to me, it should be a time period where you're actually getting to know each other all over again.
Mhm. Yeah, and it's fascinating that you said that as well too, because yeah, thinking about it now with COVID-19, it's definitely pushed a lot. Some people, I guess, maybe got some freedom of saying, okay, I got some time away, but today with COVID, it's like, hey, you're here together, right?
Yeah, everybody's closed in, or, you know, we're not out as much as we used to be. And we, you know, guess what? Our hobbies are stifled too. Some of us had hobbies. You
Hmm.
know, some people went to the gym, you know, to go work out or whatever. But with this situation, we're in close quarters, so it could be a struggle.
Hmm. Okay. And what are your thoughts? Is it something with COVID is definitely, as far as issues in marriages coming up and all these different things, do you feel like it's amplified because of COVID as well?
Oh, definitely. It's definitely amplified. You
Hmm.
know, I don't know anybody personally, but I've been hearing that there are more people wanting to divorce because of this closeness that we're having, because people are recognizing issues that they've avoided. You know, sometimes we get married and we avoid the issues that we're having. You know, we brush them under the rug, but if you're in close proximity and you're in each other's face day in and day out, the issues that you were having before have been exacerbated. So you're seeing the imperfections of your spouse more and more.
Hmm.
And that is an issue that people are having. I have clients now that, you know, are struggling because of that, and I'm, you know, helping them through that.
Hmm. Yeah. Okay. Now, what about how? So, what is your process? How do you help someone in that type of situation?
Well, first of all, I meet with them. And of course, my stuff has been on Zoom, not meeting in person, but on Zoom. And I take them through a process of questions to find out where they're at. Because the whole point is, why are you here? That's the first question. Why
Hmm.
are you here? How do you feel like I can help you? And where do you want to go from here? And there's more questions involved, but those are like the main things that I try to understand before we even get started in the process. So it's a matter of asking a series of questions to help them to understand what's going on with them and to guide them through their process. I don't have the answers. I help guide you through your process. I am the person who is available to you to listen and to help you through it. I don't give advice. I just help you through your process. And, I give suggestions and tips, of course, but it's not my role as a coach to give advice. It is my role as a coach to guide you through your process and to give you suggestions and tips on what can help you through your process.
Okay, good. So when you ask the question, why are you here? What are there common answers you typically get?
We're not communicating. We're not getting along. He did this and she did that. So it's, finger pointing, a lot of finger pointing instead of looking at themselves and working on themselves and figuring out what part are they playing in the situation. And that's where I come in at, because I really try very hard to make sure that each person is heard and to help them see what part they play in it. Because in the final analysis, we can only change ourselves. We can't change anyone else. So we have to focus on ourselves and how we can be different in the relationship versus what we expect somebody else to do.
Yeah, and it's so fascinating, right? So with individuals who wanting to change other people when there's an issue,
Yes.
taking a frame of no, I can't change, and wanting and trying and almost like creating your whole life around trying to change someone. Like that's like one of the worst things you could do, right?
It never works. It never works because a person will only change when they're ready to change. That's it. And that's why I really focus on each individual. Like, I have a married women's group. I love this group. It is awesome. But I have a married women's group. And in this group, we work on ourselves. It's all about us being better people. And that way you could be a better wife. So my main focus is, okay, what can you do differently? Don't worry about what somebody else is doing. Of course, your behavior can also help change your partner's behavior, right? However, you have to focus on yourself and make yourself a better person first before you expect any changes from your partner.
Yeah, and that is so true in life. I think growing up, we're all taught to, hey, if things aren't working, blame this thing or blame that thing or find the answers out there, right? Once you get into this type of realm, especially with the information and realizing that there's different people involved, you start realizing pretty quickly that all the smart individuals, when you get tired of banging your head against the wall, you start quickly realizing that, hey, let me fix hair. And based on hair, the law of attraction, which is saying, hey, whatever you got in, that's ultimately what's going to be, the world is just a reflection of what's already in here, right?
Right. Think about somebody who dates the same person over and over again and then blame that gender, right? Let's just say a woman who dates the same man over and over again and blame the men, like they don't like men because of the way, well, you're choosing these men. You're bringing these types of men into your life. So you have to look at yourself. You have to look at your behavior. Why do you feel like you should be choosing that type of person and then complain about the person that you get? So we have to look at inner self, and that also goes into childhood trauma too. It has to do with what you went through in your childhood and how it has affected you in your relationships as an adult. So there's so many aspects to our lives that we don't think about that could truly be affecting our relationships.
Yeah, so true, so true. Awesome. Now, what do you find? Are most marriages able to be saved, or
if they want to do the work? Any marriage can be saved if you're willing to do the work, and that's the key. You have to be willing to do the work. You have to be committed to that marriage, and realize that you have to be the one to say, I want my marriage. And when both people are feeling that way, then definitely the marriage can be saved.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't force it on anybody. You have to want it.
Yeah, yeah. And is it typically, well, maybe that's not the right question because what I'm trying to figure out is there, but it's all situation, I guess, specific, right? I mean that, well, this person wants it, but the other person doesn't want it and stuff like that, right? So it's all situation specific.
Well, yeah, it like I said, both people have to want it. And when you run into a situation where one person just absolutely doesn't want it,
Mm-hmm.
then you can't save it. Marriage is a package. You know, you both people have to want to be in this marriage. So if you don't want to be in this marriage, no matter what the other person does, you're not staying in the marriage.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a matter of what people are choosing to do. But I hope that when you meet with me and you work with me, that you decide that your marriage is worth it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my goal every time I meet with someone, whether it's just meeting with the woman or whether it's meeting with both of them. I've had the opportunity to meet both sides, and I work on that person and helping that person.
Mm-hmm.
And I also try very hard to make sure that we're not saying anything negative about the other person. We're just making sure that we're working on that, on you, not, saying all this negative things about the other person, because it's not fair to the other person. The person's not there to defend themselves. And
Yeah.
that's what's important. You have to be there together so that both persons can have a voice, say
Yeah.
what's going on, how from their perspective, because that's the other thing that we forget. It's always from your perspective.
Mm-hmm.
You might believe that this is the way it is, but that might not be true because it's from your perspective.
Yeah.
So if you have both people there, then you get to hear both perspectives. And then sometimes people are more willing to open up when there's a third party there anyway, because they feel comfortable with feeling like that person is gonna hear both sides instead of it just always being one-sided. So that's the other piece that I appreciate, is that people are, first of all, willing to open up to me and
Mm-hmm.
share what's going on with them, and then feel comfortable, because I tell everybody, this, when you're with me, it's a safe place to be. It's a safe place, and every person has a right to have their feelings heard and appreciated. So that's the key to everything, to make sure that everyone is feeling comfortable and feeling like that they're being heard.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good. And what does working with you look like? What is that? How long is the duration? How long do you typically work with clients?
Normally I do eight weeks, and within those 8 weeks, I meet with you one or two times a week, and of course it's a Zoom call. But I spend an hour each time we have the conversation. It just depends on how deep the situation is, but normally it's for 8 weeks. And I also have, like I said, I have the women's forum, and I have an online course that I have that I offer to people, so that's something else that they can do if they don't want to do the one-on-one, but they can do the online course that takes them all through the processes of, rebuilding their marriage as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay, awesome. Love it. So what about the question becomes with your own journey, what's one, I guess, like skill you'd say you've really practiced that's really helped you achieve and get to where you are today?
Understanding.
Mm-hmm.
Understanding. I am the type of person that really looks at what's going on with the individual. I was married for 34 years and got a divorce, and then I've been married for almost 4 years this time around. The one thing that I really tried to do is to understand the other person and to put myself in their place. And I guess that's why my marriage lasted for 34 years the first time. However, circumstances come about, and if you're the only one working, then that causes the disconnection. And that's what I talk about with the disconnection. So I bring a lot of understanding to my relationships and compassion, because I am a child of childhood trauma. So I know what it does. I know how it can affect you. So I'm always trying to look at what's going on with the other person to understand why they're responding the way they're responding. And that's why I say a lot, if something is happening and it's in the moment, just remind yourself that that was just a moment, that it doesn't have to expand into something way bigger than what it really is. So yeah, I bring understanding and compassion, and my husband will tell you that. I
Mhm.
definitely try to make sure that I'm understanding what's going on with him and showing compassion when he's having issues.
Yeah, love it. So what about Deborah? If someone wanted to connect with you, what's the best way for them to be able to reach out and do so?
Well, they can get me on Instagram, Nurture Your Love. All my information is there. So if anybody's interested, and I hope they are, they can always connect with me on Instagram with Nurture Your Love.
Hmm. Awesome. And guys, if you're watching this interview on the live or the replay, the link to connect with Deborah, it will be either right above or below this video. So you can click and get connected right to her. But Deborah, again, thank you so much for making the time to be here today and sharing with the community what it is that you do and what basically what your purpose is with us here today. Do you have any final thoughts before we end?
I just want to say, work on your marriage. You chose this person. You said I do. So guess what? Say I do. Make it work. And if you're struggling, I'm here. I'm available. Let's have a conversation.
Awesome, love it. Well, hey, thanks again. We'll talk soon, okay?
All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate